From the chariots of ancient combat to today's most sophisticated armored cars, wheeled vehicles give mobility to warfare. Faster, lighter, and more maneuverable than tanks, the latest wheeled armored vehicles can engage nearly anything on the modern battlefield, then race at high speed to their next encounter. Although tanks are more recognizable, wheeled armored cars are the oldest form of armored vehicles. At the turn of the century, armored steam engines were used by the British Army during the Boer War. The First World War saw a profusion of armored cars. These vehicles were little more than conventional automobiles, fortified with a thin layer of armor. They were useful for scouting and raiding, but they were soon overshadowed by the tank. The armored car's wheels are both its greatest asset and its greatest liability. A tank distributes its weight across the broad surface of its track, reducing its ground pressure. An armored car's weight is supported only by the tiny contact patch where its wheels touch the ground. This means that a tank is better able to traverse mud, snow, and soft ground, where an armored car can become hopelessly bogged down. As a result, armored cars saw limited use before the Second World War. They could not carry as much armor as tracked vehicles, so they were used mainly for reconnaissance missions, where they could remain on roads or hard ground. World War II saw innovations such as additional wheels to reduce ground pressure. Another improvement was to add a track assembly in the rear of the vehicle called a half-track. The post-war years saw many innovations in armored car design. The French Panhard EBR introduced the idea of supplementary wheels. Two pairs of wheels in the center of the vehicle would be kept in an elevated position when high speed was desired. But if they encountered mud, the wheels would be lowered for better traction. Another method to reduce ground pressure is to increase the surface area of the tire. This can be done by removing air from the tire, giving it a greater footprint on the ground. On the Soviet BTR-152, the driver could utilize external pipes to inflate or deflate the tires, depending on the terrain conditions. Another innovation was run-flat tires, which if punctured were still operational. Today's wheeled armored vehicles still have weight limitations and are therefore unable to be as heavily armored as tanks. Nonetheless, their usage has flourished, mostly due to their economy and functionality. Armored cars are widely used in two roles. They are the successors to ancient cavalry, using their speed and mobility to scout ahead of heavy tank forces and to screen the unprotected flanks of large mobile formations. They are also used by many infantry forces, serving to carry troops into a battle under the cover of armor, with better cross-country performance than trucks and other vehicles. The United States has always been one of the largest producers of wheeled armored vehicles. One of the most successful manufacturers is Cadillac Gauge, whose Commando series has seen combat throughout the world. The V-150 Commando was used extensively by the Royal Saudi National Guard during the First Gulf War. One instance in which the V-150 was indispensable was during the Battle of Khafji, where the Saudis, initially outnumbered and overrun by Iraqi forces, helped to recapture the town street by street. The latest and most powerful variant of the Commando is the V-600, which offers the firepower of a main battle tank with the simplicity and low cost of an armored car. Advances in automotive technology give vehicles like these excellent cross-country performance, as well as much higher road speeds than tracked vehicles. The V600 is armed with a 105mm gun, identical in performance to the one used on the M1 Abrams main battle tank. The V600 Commando has far more sophisticated fire controls than previous armored cars, which allows it to fire while on the move. In the 1980s, the U.S. Marine Corps began looking for a light armored vehicle to give their divisions additional mobility. They selected a design that had its origins in Switzerland. The Swiss firm MOAG developed the Piranha series of wheeled armored vehicles, using 4, 6, or 8 wheeled configurations. The Piranha was designed as a state-of-the-art wheeled armored vehicle, capable of operating in terrain conditions that would stop many existing wheeled armored vehicles. The Piranhas could be armed with a variety of weapons, ranging from simple machine gun turrets to elaborate turrets with large... The LAV-25 can carry an additional 6 Marines in its rear compartment. It is used for scouting, raiding, and screening operations, where its mobility can best be exploited. The LAV-25 can move in advance of Marine mechanized formations, hunting out weak points in enemy positions. It offers the scouts the advantage of armor protection. The LAV-AT is a tank hunter, fitted with a Hammerhead tow missile launcher for engaging hostile tanks. To provide fire support for the Marine units, there is a special mortar version armed with an 81mm mortar in the rear compartment. The Marines have also deployed an air defense variant. The LAV-AD's primary mission is to protect forward Marine units from low-altitude airborne threats. A secondary mission is to provide ground defense against light armored mechanized forces. The Blazer turret includes an infrared targeting sight, a laser rangefinder, and the option of employing either Stinger missiles or the rapid-fire GAU-12 25mm Gatling gun. The LAV-C² is a command vehicle which carries Marine commanders into the battle zone and provides sufficient communication equipment to coordinate their units' actions. The LAV units also have their own recovery vehicles to help repair damaged vehicles. The Marine Corps' interest in the LAV was closely tied to its traditional role in American overseas rapid deployment missions. These tasks require a special accent on mobility. The Marines sought a vehicle light enough to be airlifted, yet armed adequately to have an impact on the modern mechanized battlefield. A specific Marine requirement was that the LAV be light enough to be carried by CH-53E Super Stallions. The Super Stallion can carry an LAV for a considerable distance, even refueling in mid-air to extend its range. The LAV also proved well suited for airdrop missions. It takes an impressive set of parachutes to land a 12-ton LAV safely. Another approach to rapid insertion of armored vehicles in a landing zone is LAPES, for Low Altitude Parachute Extraction System.